Ciao jewelry making friends, my name is Joey Balestrieri. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here and I appreciate you choosing my video today. It is a very happy day in Joey land because today I am working with the beads from a box that I collaborated with Stella of didi'sbeads on, and we did this box together, and it is thrilling for me because of years of receiving boxes that other people had curated and selected the items. I got to be a part of this one, and I have to say that even though I knew what the colors were and I knew what the box was going to be, getting the box like this, the way that Stella packaged it and sent it to me, just sparked creativity and joy as much as if I didn't know what was in the box. So I have mostly cut things apart except for my little strand of turquoise. And by the way, we named our box Color Poetry. And we're really thrilled. We had so much fun doing this together, and we're thinking that we're going to put another one together coming up pretty soon. We called it Didi and Joey's Designer Inspired Collection, and it was two small businesses, two designers, two women coming together to create something special, and we're thrilled with it. So what I did is I cut apart my sea sediment jasper, which were these little tubes that were in the box, and this was like the inspiration bead that started it all up, and I cut mine apart and I have separated it into an earring project. I'm going to be sharing a company called Purity Beads with all of you. I've mentioned it before on my channel, so if you're new you wouldn't have heard it, but some of you may know that I found this company at a bead show about a year ago, and it is high quality. All the metals are brass based, then they're electroplated, and then they have an e-coating that makes them anti-tarnish. So like they have a nice weight, some of the designs are exclusive, and didi'sbeads is going to start selling Purity Beads on her website as well. So I am going to incorporate some of the things that I purchased at the bead show in the projects. So there is that, and then I'll show you my stringing material. I am going to be doing one of my bracelets with this small Brazilian waxed cord. This is the smallest millimeter that it comes in, and so that's going to be the stringing material for one of my bracelets. The bracelet things are separated off to the corner of my mat because I am going to be doing 4 projects with this box. And then what else? I'm going to be using for this necklace project, I'm going to be using some little scraps of 20 gauge wire in the gold. And I am also going to be stringing this necklace with the pink tourmaline color of the soft flex beading wire, and this is the 49 strand medium. It's kind of an all-purpose wire, and it's one of my favorites. It's extremely flexible. But the other thing I like about it is that it's very strong, and anywhere that the wire shows, which it will at the end of this design, it will show a little bit, and where my clasp is, it's just beautiful. I don't ever feel the need to cover it with seed beads or disguise it because it's beautiful in its own right. So what I have done is taken about a 30-inch length of that pink tourmaline 49 strand wire, and I'm going to find the middle and cut it right in half. So you can make, as we get going on this design, you'll see what I'm explaining, but you can adjust the length of this. And the design, I'll just mention for those of you that did not see my unboxing, because I explained in the unboxing where the idea for the box came and for much of the beads that are in this box. Usually when I get a bead box from a company, usually I take the beads that I was given and come up with the design. But when Stella and I started to design this and curate this, I said, what if we do one of my favorite designs? I've done it like twice in the past, and it's as easy. Any skill level can accomplish this, so it would be great because I know that there's a lot of new people to jewelry art. And so I said, you know, what if we kind of put the ingredients in the box for a specific design, which is working backwards. But that's what we did. Plus, as I said, I'm getting a lot of other projects too. So you'll see as we do this that you can make adjustments in the length. And I'll explain. What you see laid out here is this. It's really, really cool. This is going to be the upper part, which I'm going to, you know, mirror the two sides, and right around in the middle, and this is where you can adjust. I want mine to be around 18, 19 inches. There's going to be a little section here that is strung in a really unique way and super easy, and it will feature these larger beads. I mean, these are just these beautiful egg-shaped beads. They're just smooth and wonderful and shimmery, and so there's going to be like a feature section. And then there's going to be two little like dangles, like kind of modern tassel looking things at the bottom part of the necklace. So when I was separating my beads, I just kind of laid out my pattern. And I'm going to start by taking a number 2 crimp tube and just making my 2 loops on each side. So I'll need 2 of those number 2 crimp tubes, and I'm going to be using the gold ones, and these are gold filled. And I'm going to be using my magical crimping plier. The word went right out of my head. The magical crimping plier. If you don't care for that plier or don't have it, you can definitely do a traditional fold over crimp here. But I really love the way that crimping plier works, because it takes this little tiny tube and turns it into a bead. And it is just lovely. It looks professional, and you don't have to put a crimp cover. So if you're not familiar, the magical crimping plier looks like this. It just has one little well instead of all the different divots of a traditional fold over crimp. And I'm just going to feed that wire through my crimp tube and then make a loop and come back down and just get that little tube turned into a bead. I'm excited. I'm losing my words because I'm really excited. What I am making is a design that I personally love, that I have made for myself and that I wear often. And it's just something that I personally love. And then, of course, I got to choose the beads in this bead box, so what's not to love about that? So I'm just going to fit that little number 2 crimp tube in the well and close the plier, and what it does is pinch the 4 corners of the crimp tube, and then I put it in the opposite direction and close the plier again and just go around and around 6, 7, 8 times, just until I am opening and closing the plier and I don't feel anything. And when I stop feeling that it's putting any pressure, then I know that that little tube was turned into a perfect little bead. I absolutely love that. I'm going to repeat the same thing on my second strand of wire. And in our box, there was this beautiful, classic, elegant little toggle clasp with a little like twisted design. And I'm going to go ahead and attach it. I'm going to use some gold-filled jump rings to attach my toggle to each of those loops. And then when I start stringing, it will be really easy to see where I am going with my beads and my pattern, because my toggle will already be attached. And from here, I'm going to set this aside and show you how I'm going to prepare these larger beads for the center. And I'm going to set my little earring beads aside as well. So I'm going to take a little piece of 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to be using my 2¼ inch, which is the medium size 1-step looper. and just make a simple loop. You could definitely use your pliers, whatever way you like to get your simple loops on your wires, do that. And these loops don't show very much because they get strung right into the bead pattern. And what I'm going to do is just thread one of those large beads on, and I'm going to put another simple loop on the opposite end. So that little component, let me get it with pliers, that little component looks like that, and I am going to repeat that 2 more times. Okay, now that I have prepared my three beads, and they are ready for the stringing process, I am going to start creating a pattern. I'm going to be using as the bulk of my pattern these 6mm crackle beads that came in the box. They are so beautifully complementary to the other beads, but I also went into my stash and pulled out some seed beads that I may use. And also I am going to incorporate these little turquoise beads in my pattern. And we did get, on this strand, we did get some little gold spacer beads, but I'm not certain how many gold dots I'm going to need through the length of my pattern. So I got some 8/0 round seed beads that are perma finish galvanized, and they're like that really nice bright gold, and that's what I have out here. And I also pulled out some size 11/0 Delica seed beads that are a little bit like sparkly. I don't know if I'll be using them. And then I am not sure when I start stringing if I'm going to want these or not. But I am going to cut the turquoise open. I'm going to dump out some of these green seed beads. These are a Picasso finish 8/0 seed bead. It's a Picasso chartreuse is the name of the color. And the reason that I pulled out this green, it's a beautiful green and it's very dimensional. For being an 8/0 seed bead, it has the Picasso wash, so it's very dimensional. But in our box, we have some little vintage green check glass cubes that have some faceting on them, and that was just like a beautiful neutral complementary color, and it looks so great to liven up a necklace. So I think I want to have some green appearing up here, and I'm going to choose 2 of these little turquoise beads, and I believe they are going to go in here some way some way like that. And let's see, I am going to just start stringing. So I can set one of my wires aside because I'm going to create my pattern on one side and then duplicate it on the other side. And so to start off with, I think I am going to start at the, I'll start near the clasp, and I'm going to start with threading on maybe 6 of these seed beads. 5, 6, and just bring them down. The pliers out of the way. If it's possible, I like to thread my little cut end of wire back through a few beads. It looks nice not to have to trim it away up here near the clasp. And look at those 8/0 seed beads. That is absolutely beautiful. And then I'm going to add one of these, and then I just have to create a pattern with my green and my gold and get down to around the 18-inch length. I really like this. Now in this box we received 16 inches, I believe it was a 16-inch strand of the 6mm crackle beads, and I love them so much, but I tend to like longer necklaces, and so this is something that I say and do often. I advocate for using seed beads. If you have a strand of beads that you love, if you have gemstones that you love, and you need to get more length than the strand that you have, seed beads are an absolutely fabulous way to do that. So I just have to decide how much I want to have. If I want to have this much green, I am going to play with my pattern and get this side to a certain point, and I'll check back in. I'm going to do that off camera, and I'm going to make my second side match this side exactly. So I'm just going to play around with my pattern a little bit here. This is kind of my starting point. I'm thinking it's maybe a little bit too much green, and maybe I want to back out of some of the green a little bit. So for me, this pattern play is the best part of a project. So when I start out, there's a little bit of on and off until I find exactly what, you know, is speaking to me, and then it's just really repeat, repeat, repeat. So I'm going to work on my pattern a little bit here, and I will check back in. It'll just be a second for you by the magic of editing. So I decided on my pattern, and I have to say I'm thrilled with it, and one side is completely done. So let me just walk you through what I settled on. This part is behind the neck, so I just did a little bit of seed beads, and I decided to do just a dot of gold in between a grouping. So I'm working mostly in odd numbers. So with the dot of gold, that's 5 beads in between each of the 6mm bead. And then I just worked my way down until this was no longer behind my neck, because I really want to feature these sea sediment jasper tube beads and the turquoise beads. So I kind of did a little patterned section here where that pattern goes into this little pattern, and I just continued dotting the gold in between beads. The reason that I prepared these beads ahead of time is because, as you can see, those simple loops become part of the stringing pattern. So I strung this first one on, and then I had to just work out my spacing here so that these rest right next to each other, so they're not tight and, you know, crunched like that. If you wanted to adjust this, as I said at the beginning, this design is so adjustable. You can really have fun with it. If you wanted more negative space, you could put more beads strung in between these components that we made at the beginning. But let me lay it down on the mat. I kind of just did them so that, let me zoom in a little bit. I kind of just did them so that the negative space is minimal, and you just kind of see that little, we created like a little ladder. And this way, with all the seed beads in this design, the necklace is not super heavy, even though we are featuring some really large beads here. So let me zoom us back out. And then I wanted to get a little bit more of my tube beads, my seed sediment jasper, at the bottom underneath this little focal section, and I just picked back up with that pattern. And then at the end, I wanted it to be a bit heavier, a little bit of interest, and all of my colors appearing right on my final drop. So I finished off my pattern with one of the beads that came in the box for the spacers, and one of those vintage check glass beads, another little gold bead. I did the same little crimp here with the magical crimping plier, another gold filled jump ring exactly like I used on the clasp, and I did wire wrap one of my turquoise beads just because it's a thing that I do when a bead kind of needs to be facing forward. Now this is totally going to move around when it's worn, but it's just something I like to do, and I liked that little like gold. I think the wrapping looks like a gold element. And then I just did a simple loop with one of those larger beads that's up here, and that's like a modern tassel. What I did this little simple loop drop is one of these stunning ball head pins from Purity Beads. These are a brass base, and they are coated with the gold and then with the anti-tarnish coating. And so they are really sturdy, really, really beautiful head pins. And that's what I did this on. And so it was a simple matter of threading on my seed bead, one of these little guys, and I just wanted another little dot of green. And I did the exact same thing that I did on my components here, using my 2 1/4 millimeter one-step looper, and just pull the beads off about 1 millimeter from the jaw, so I'm not putting any stress on anything. And then the tool makes a clean cut, makes that loop, and then I just pull my component right out of the way so that nothing gets crushed or damaged. And sometimes, I don't know why, but on the 2 1/4, I think it's the way I put my wire in, but I do need to like close it. But I'm going to open this again anyway to attach it, so I won't fiddle with it too much. And then with those same beautiful ball head pins, while I was coming up with my stringing pattern, I went ahead and designed my coordinating earrings. And I left these this way because I want to do the same thing with my one-step looper that I just did, and I wanted to show you that. This is just literally one of those beautiful ball head pins, and I just repeated the elements that are in my necklace. Now this little barrel bead is also from Purity Beads, and it is going to appear in my 2 bracelet projects that will be in my next video. But so my set of jewelry is going to have, you know, the possibility of interchangeable, like wearing one thing with another or wearing them individually. But it is just simple. When you start with gorgeous beads like this sea sediment jasper, and you know, just these beautiful little dots of gold, and look at the texture. I love the Purity Beads items. If you have not perused their website, I cannot recommend it enough. I am an affiliate with them. I'm the first YouTuber to bring them to YouTube, and their first affiliate, I'm honored and proud to say. So I can also leave my link and my discount code. If you're a first-time customer to Purity Beads, you can get a discount from your first order. I think you'll be highly impressed. The spacers, the metal findings, the head pins, the chains are amazing. In my next video, you'll see a couple more of the things that they make. But enough said, I'm going to switch down to my 1 1/2 millimeter one-step looper. And I did not cut the head pins. I did not do anything to these because I want this to be a contemporary bar earring with a downward rod, just a stick earring, if you will, kind of a stick earring. Minimalist, but with a lot of interest, and I absolutely love this little stack of beads. And so I am going to do this super simple. I am just going to put the end of the head pin in the one-step looper, just so that the wire is just slightly past the back jaw of the plier. This tool will make a clean, fresh cut and wrap the wire around that mandrel all in one step, and I don't have to measure anything. Let me just change my grip a little bit. So I'm just going to close the tool. It just made that little cut. I don't even know where it went. There it is. And continue closing. And when that closes all the way, I'm going to take my finger and pull that wire down, just so that I can see that that loop is centered on the wire. And when I take it away, I have absolute perfection. Sometimes, depending on how you put the wire in the tool, sometimes you have to come in with your plier, and on these, it's really not the tool, it's really because of the brass. It is a brass-based head pin, and it's very much stiffer than, you know, craft wire. But that earring is done, and I am going to put this on my interchangeable. I love my gold-filled interchangeable ear wires. In fact, I am wearing this pair of earrings today, which I made with last month's Didi's Deluxe bead box. And that is all I do, is use my gold-filled interchangeable lever back ear wires and just change out my drops as I get in my boxes and things. I don't need a set of ear wires every single time. and you know, I'm putting high quality metal in my ear. So this is a stunning, flirty, little bit minimalist, but extremely statement. I mean, I absolutely love the elegance of the purple and the gold and the magenta pink, and I just love the way this moves. I know that is a terrible camera angle, but I will definitely put some pictures up at the end of the video, and I'm going to repeat the exact same thing. Just put that head pin just slightly past that back jaw, let it make that cut for me, and make my loop, and then pull it down. Just, you know, and with a one-step looper, I don't know if the camera is showing you, but like my head pin is a little bit, it's just a little bit not straight, but this tool gives you such great control to make whatever maneuvers you need to. And so the reason that it's a little bit difficult to straighten is, again, because of the quality of these head pins. They are solid brass, and then they have those two coatings. So that's why it's a little bit stiffer, and like why the tool is not closing and doing its normal perfect job. But I love the consistency of my loops with the one-step looper, and just that fast, an absolutely stunning pair of earrings is made that will coordinate with my jewelry set. So back to the necklace. So this side is completely done. I have my drop done. I finished this pattern with one of those vintage cube beads, and now I need to repeat this exact same pattern on the second side of the necklace. And by the magic of YouTube, I've already done it. So all I did is start at the toggle that we added on together at the beginning. And so let me just see, let me set these aside and see if I can get you a little camera view here, because I am at the point of stringing through these other loops. So I didn't put a bead stopper, and I don't want to lose my beads there, but this side literally is identical to the first side. So can you see? It's literally identical, and I counted the same amount of seed beads that are here. Let me see, I'm going to need those to finish. And now you just treat this as a normal stringing project. I'm going to thread on one of the crackle glass beads and then run my wire through that simple loop, same as I did. And this is just creating a little bridge. And then I need 2 of my seed beads. I'm just copying exactly what I did here. And this is what I worked out for my spacing. But as I said, this lovely bridge, this negative space here, you can alter that for whatever is pleasing to your eye. And then I did 2 seed beads and then ran my wire through my simple loop, and then 2 more seed beads. And that just gave me the spacing that was pleasing to me. And then another one of my 6mm crackle glass beads, and then 2 more seed beads, and then back through my last simple loop, and then I believe it was 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 seed beads, and then I resumed with my pattern play. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I did a gold, and then I saved out, I have over here my elements. When I sorted out my beads for all 4 of my projects, I saved these for the second side of my necklace. Then another gold seed bead, and I'm just going to continue matching this side to this side all the way to the end. Okay, my second side is all finished. It matches perfectly the first side, and I have connected my stringing right here. Let me just try to straighten it out. I love long necklaces, as you guys might know if you've been around my channel, but they are notoriously difficult to share on the beading mat. So at the end, for sure, I will employ Gabriella Eva. She's going to model, but just want to pull out of the camera for 1 second and just check. When you're stringing like that, it's really easy to miss a bead, to miscount. So I just want to check before I crimp. Just double check that everything is correct. It looks great. I finished with a gold bead, and then I'm going to do that exact same thing again. Just feed on my number 2 crimp tube, loop it back through. The vintage check glass cubes, the other one at least, did not accommodate my wire going back down through, so I had to just pull it through the seed bead and trim it off that way. I prefer to trim away from my stringing from my end, but sometimes it is just not possible. I just want to match my loop to the other end. Every time I do this, everybody leaves me comments on what they do to make sure their loops match. Some people, one person said they put a toothpick in every time they make a loop. I think one person said they put their beading all in there. I'm an eyeballer. I just like to do it. I just eyeball things. And if it didn't match, it's not super crucial. That's pretty good. Okay, and I'm just going to repeat that same thing, but before I do, I just want to make sure that this second side of my necklace does not have any strange gaps in it and that it's not too rigid. Just make sure that everything looks good, and it does. And I'm going to repeat the same thing again. Perfect little crimp bead there. And now I can go to this. I'm going to use another little piece of the 20 gauge wire that I've been using. I actually have a scrap here that I've already started a wire wrapped loop on. I'm going to thread this on. I never throw anything away. So when I go in my wire scrap bags, sometimes something failed and I save everything. So I'm going to use that and just get my other end done. And so this is what I did. I wanted my diamond shaped bead to kind of stay facing forward. So I did wire wrap this little section here, and round nose pliers, and just do a wire wrapped loop. And honestly, if you prefer a simple loop here, there's no reason that wouldn't work. This is just me. Okay, and I can trim away. Okay, and that little component is done. And I am going to open this larger component and add it to my turquoise. Close that really well, and I do open and close my pliers. It's kind of a habit. And let me get to this side. I have another one of those little other pliers. I have another one of those little gold filled jump rings. These jump rings are an Amazon find, and when I am doing something that is, for me or something that's for a gift, something that I really want it to have some longevity, you know, a little bit more longevity than normal fashion jewelry, I will move to brass coated findings and gold filled findings. They're a little bit more expensive, but if I'm doing a project like this that I love, I'll, you know, do everything I can to give it some quality. And this beautiful design is done. As I said, I have done this in the past, but there are so many ways to vary this design and this method of stringing, and you know, it's just like one of my favorite necklace designs, and I am in love with my little earrings as well. They look great with my necklace, and wait until you see my 2 bracelets. So I am going to come back with another video with my 2 bracelets, and I thank you so much for watching today. I will definitely put some pictures of this at the end of the video on Gabriella, because this is really, really hard to see on my mat, but it is so pretty. It is so, so, so pretty. I love the little dangles at the end. I just love the whole thing, and it's a nice long necklace, which is, you know, for me, it just elongates me, makes me feel taller. I don't have anything hot and uncomfortable up close to my neck because I live in a tropical climate. So I just love this, and I think this is timeless. I mean, I can wear this for every season. All summer, I could see this into the fall and winter. It's just the jewel tones that are just so beautiful. The greens and turquoises and berry colors, just absolutely thrilled with this design. I thank you so much for watching. I will leave links and my discount codes in the description box of this video. This was my very first collaboration box, and it was a complete joy from beginning to end, and the making with it is also a joy. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, it would be lovely if you do that and tap the bell notification, because I think there's going to be some more special things in the future on my channel, and if you don't want to miss the notifications, that's the way to get them. Thanks a lot, everybody. I hope you're having a great summer and you're safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, jewelry making friends.